Hello students, welcome to Unit 1 of our 12th class chemistry syllabus, that is solution, and this is lecture number 1. First of all, an introduction to solutions. What a solution is? A solution is a mixture. What kind of mixture? Not any kind, it is a homogeneous mixture. In your 11th class, you have learned that a solution is that mixtures are of two types, homogeneous and heterogeneous. And solution is a homogeneous mixture of at least two or more than two components, the concentration of which can be changed within certain limits. Okay, there are limits. Between these limits we can change the concentration, and different components of a solution are there. When there are only two components, one component will be called solvent and other component will be called solute. The component which is in larger excess, large amount, will be called solvent, and the other component which is in small amount, lesser amount, will be regarded as solute. And when there are more than two components, then one of the components which is in larger amount is solvent and all other components are solutes. And a solution having only two components is called binary solution. It is a binary solution. Okay. When there are more than two components, that will be a trinary solution. Four components, ternary, similarly. Okay. But in this unit, for numerical purposes, mostly we will be given a solution having two components, that is a binary solution. Now let us discuss about the types of solutions. You see here a table in which different types of solutions are given. Depending upon the physical state of solute and solvent. Solute means the component in lesser amount, solvent larger amount. Depending upon their physical states, you see there are 9 types of solutions. In gaseous solutions, solvent is always gas. In liquid solutions, solvent is liquid, and in it, solid. Now, solute can be gas, liquid, solid in all these three. So, 9 variants are there. 9 types of solutions are there. 9 types of homogeneous mixtures are there, which we call solution. And their examples are given here. You can quote more examples from your daily life. For example, first is gas and gas. Both components are gas. Gas in gas. Here is a mixture of oxygen and nitrogen, you know. And if air is pure, free from dust particles, other things, then that is also a mixture. When we mix two gases together, that is a mixture of this kind. Then liquid in gas, chloroform mixed with nitrogen gas. Solid in gas, camphor in nitrogen gas. Gas in liquid, oxygen dissolved in water. Cold drinks also. Cold drinks have carbon dioxide gas in water. Then liquid in liquid, solid in liquid. So all these are different examples. You can have more examples from your books. Lastly, solid in solid. Lesser amount is solid, larger amount is solid. It is also a solution. It is called solid solution, like copper dissolved in gold. All the ornaments of gold are not made up of pure gold metal. They consist of some impurity of copper also, which improves its properties. So gold ornament is not a pure metal. It is a mixture. It is a homogeneous mixture. It is a solution. All alloys are solutions. Okay. So up to now, you are clear about what a solution is. A solution is a homogeneous mixture. Now, why we are talking about it in our first unit from very beginning? Because solutions are very important in our life. Around us, we are not having pure substances. We do not have pure elements or pure compounds around us. We are living in mixtures. For example, if I take water from tap in my house, then that water is not pure H2O. That has many impurities. Okay, that is a mixture. But that is a homogeneous mixture because impurities are not visible. You know, I think in your 11th class you have learned that a homogeneous mixture is that which has only one visible state of matter and which has uniform composition throughout. In a glass of water, we do not see any other state. We see only liquid state. We do not see any component and it has uniform composition. That is why it is a homogeneous mixture. Okay, air is made up of oxygen, nitrogen, other gases. That is also a homogeneous mixture. That is also a solution. The cold drinks we drink are solutions. Even our body fluids are solutions, like our saliva, urine, gastric juices. All biochemical reactions take place in solutions. And the injections which we take, medicines, liquid medicines, they are also solutions. Now you are clear what a solution is, why these are important to study. Now let us talk about the most important property of a solution. For example, when we see a solid, what we see first, its size, its shape. So size, shape, mass, these are the measurable properties, important properties for solid. Similarly, when we talk about a liquid, for example, we want to get petrol filled in our bike. So petrol will be taken in volume, 1 liter, 2 liter. Okay, liter is volume. So measurable property of a liquid, striking property of a liquid is its volume. And in case of gas, when we want to check air pressure in tire of our bike, what we check? We check its pressure. So pressure is most important property of a gas. Okay. Of course, other properties are also there, but easily measurable property. Now let us come to solution. In case of a solution, the most important property you see is concentration. Okay. What is concentration? Qualitatively, we call it dilute concentrate. Dilute nitric acid, concentrated nitric acid. Okay, some things are dilute, some things are. When we put water into a solution, it gets diluted. So mostly we take this term, but this is very ambiguous. This is not very useful. We know we need precise concentration of a solution for our calculations. For example, if I give common salt and water to different students to make a solution. You know, solution of salt in water is called brine, B-R-I-N-E, brine. If I want brine in my lab and I give you salt and water and you all are required to make it brine solution, will everybody having brine solution have same taste? No, because the amount of salt taken and amount of water taken will be different for all the students. So their concentration will be different. Now, how concentration is expressed? If I want all students to have same concentration of brine, then I will have to specify. I will have to specify either mass or volume or some other thing. And there are various methods of specifying, means there are various methods for expressing concentration of solution. In first round, we will consider 7 methods, solve their numericals. After that, we will discuss 3 more methods which are important for competition purposes. The first important 7 methods of expressing concentration are: number 1, mass percentage, W oblique W. Second is volume percentage. Then mass by volume percentage. Then parts per million, mole fraction, molarity, and molarity. So these are the important 7 methods to express concentrations of a solution. Now let us discuss these one by one and make their formulas to solve numericals. The first method is, you see, mass per percentage W oblique W. This method is used when the components of a solution are solids. For example, uh, mass of a solid is easy to be determined in spite of volume or pressure or some other thing. We can easily get mass of a solid. When components of a solution are solids, for example, gold and copper solution, zinc and copper solution, then their concentration is expressed in terms of their masses. And formula to express mass percentage of a solution is mass of component in gram divided by total mass of solution, that is also in gram, into 100. So in this way you can express mass percentage concentration of a solution. Okay, now what will be the unit of answer? No unit, because you see, gram will be cancelled out. Gram and gram will be cancelled out and the answer will have no unit. For example, I will say that this piece of brass is 20 W by W percent copper. That's all. No unit. Similarly, this piece of gold is 95 W by W gold, or I can say 5 W by W copper. So in this way, we can express the mass percentage. We will solve its numericals here on. Now let us first discuss the second method of expressing concentration, that is volume percentage. Can I ask you that when to use this method, volume percentage? Can you guess when we have to use this method of volume percentage? Of course, this method is required when components of a solution are liquids. Okay, so here mass of liquid cannot be determined easily, but volume of a liquid is easy to determine. How to determine volume of a liquid? For volume, we have measuring cylinders in lab. By taking liquid in that measuring cylinder, we can take 1 liter, 2 liter, 10 milliliter, 20 milliliter. Different shapes and sizes of measuring cylinders are there in lab. So we can use those measuring cylinders and take volume of liquid very easily. And if all components of a solution are liquids, For example, I mix 10 ml of ethyl alcohol in 20 ml of water, mix them together, 10 ml alcohol, 20 ml water, and I want to get volume percentage of alcohol or that of water, then what to do? And then formula becomes volume of component. Which component? Whose volume percentage I want to calculate. Volume of that component, volume will be in milliliter. Okay, upon total volume of solution, again that also will be in milliliter into 100. Milli will be cancelled out. Again answer will have no units. W by V, sorry, V by V percentage will be. Okay. So this is the second method of finding concentration, that is volume percentage. Now let us discuss the third method, mass by volume percentage. Now guess when this method has to be used. When we use this method of mass volume percentage, can you guess? Mass is there, volume is also there. When to use this method? Of course, it is used when the solution has one component as solid and other component as liquid. Okay, then we use mass by volume W oblique V percentage, because the component which is solid will be taken in mass of solid component will be taken, and the other component which is in liquid state will take volume of that component, because it is easier. It is easy to take mass of solid and volume of liquid. So solution is having one solid component, one liquid component. So we will take mass of solid and volume of liquid, and the formula becomes mass of solid component, which will be in gram, upon volume of solution, and volume will be in milliliter into 100, and solution means solute plus solvent. So when you have mixed a solid component into a liquid component, the solution should be liquid. Only in that case you can get its volume, and solution will be liquid when solid component is in a lesser amount. That means here the solid component will be solute. Okay, it will be solute. So you can also write like this, that mass of solute in gram upon volume of solution in milliliter into 100. And see one more thing, when you get answer, this answer will have units also. Answer will be something into gram per milliliter. First two methods were not having any units, you see, but here the answer will be having units also. And this mass percentage, mass by volume percentage, is often used in chemistry, and it is also called strength of solution. Mass upon volume is also called strength. In our practical, in our experimental purposes, we will use strength. Find strength of this solution of HCl in water, find strength of solution of oxalic acid in water, like this. So keep it in mind That mass volume percentage is also called strength. Okay. Now let us discuss fourth method of finding concentration. That is parts per million. Okay. Parts per million. Million means, can you tell me million? Million means 10 raised to power 6. That is 10 lakh. 10 lakh is called million. Okay. And first three methods are percent. Cent means 100. 10 to power 2. So when in first three formulas we replace 10 raised to power 2 by 10 raised to power 6, then all those formulas become formulas of parts per million, that is ppm. So you can say mass or volume of component divided by mass or volume of solution into 10 raised to power 6 becomes million. It becomes ppm. Okay. So if we take mass upon mass, then it will become mass per million. Okay. If we take volume upon volume, then it will become volume per million. And if we take mass upon volume, it will become mass upon volume ppm or strength ppm. Okay. Means in all these three formulas, if we replace 10 raised to power 2, that is 100, by 10 raised to power 6, that is million, then all these formulas becomes formulas of per million. From percent, these formulas become formulas of per million. Okay. Now question arises that what is the necessity of this formula per million? Why percent is replaced by 10 to power 6? Why we need this? The answer is we need this in case of big solutions. When a solution is very big, then we need per million instead of percent. And what is a big solution? Like pollution in air, like pollution in a lake, in a river. For example, we want to calculate amount of fluoride ions present in Harike Lake. You know Harike Pattan Lake is there. When we go to Amritsar, a place comes Harike. A lake is there, bird sanctuary is there, and that lake has water which is mixed with many minerals, many substances, and fluoride ions are there in water. The water which we drink must have minerals. Minerals are very important for our life, and their concentration in drinking water is very important. For example, 1 part per million of fluoride ions when present in water, they are very good for our teeth. Teeth are healthy when our drinking water has 1 ppm fluoride ions. But when concentration of fluoride ions in drinking water becomes 1.5 ppm, that becomes dangerous. The teeth get molted, they become yellow, they are rotten. That is a problem. That is a dental disease. So see how important concentration is. So it should be between 1 to 1.5. For example, we want to see that is water of Harike Lake fit for human consumption or not. We will have to find its fluoride ion concentration. We will take a sample of water from there. For example, I take 1 liter water and analyze in lab, find concentration. If concentration is between 1 to 1.5 ppm, then we will say that this is fit for consumption. If it is beyond these limits, then that water is not fit for human consumption. So when a solution is very big, then we replace percent by per million. Pollution is reported in per million terms. I think you got it. We will solve numericals based upon these formulas, then your understanding will be much better. Okay, now let us move to fifth method of finding concentration, that is mole fraction. What is mole fraction? Fraction you know, and mole you also know. What is mole? Number of mole of a substance. Number of mole, you have learned mole concept in your 11th class. What is 1 mole? 1 mole of a substance has three concepts: mass concept, volume concept, particle concept. According to mass concept, 1 mole of a substance consists of gram atomic mass or gram molecular mass, which is also called molar mass. So how number of moles are calculated? Number of moles of a substance, of a, we can say component, because we are studying solutions, we should use the term component. Number of moles of a component is equal to given mass of that component divided by its molecular mass, or you can say molar mass. We can short it. Number of moles we replace by small n. Given mass is W and molar mass is capital M. So this is the formula to get number of moles of a substance. Okay. And a solution has different substances, different components. All components have their masses in a solution. All components have their molecular mass also. So we can get their number of moles by dividing given mass with molecular mass. And from their number of moles, we can get their mole fractions. So mole fraction of component A will be equal to number of moles of component A divided by sum of number of moles of all components. Okay. For example, if we have a binary solution which is having only two components, okay, the solution is having only two components, A and B, and mole fraction is represented by letter X. So X of A, that is mole fraction of A, will be number of moles of A divided by the sum of number of moles of A and B. Similarly, mole fraction of B will be equal to number of moles of component B upon sum of number of moles of both. If there are three components, you can do same thing with C also. And you know both are fractions, and sum of all the fractions will be unity. If a solution is having only two components, one means total, then both fractions will make total, will make one. If three components, three will make one. 4 components, 4 will make 1. So all fractions make 1. Okay. So this term is mole fraction. I think you have learned it, you have got it. Okay. Now let us move to next method of expressing concentration of solution, which is molarity. What is molarity? As the name suggests, it is concerned with moles also. So molarity is actually number of moles of solute, or you can say component, which is a lesser amount dissolved per liter of solution. Okay, so what is molarity? Number of moles of solute per liter of solution. Okay, so molarity is represented by capital M. Molarity is equal to number of moles of solute upon volume of solution. Now in our lab, volume is mostly determined in milliliters because we have small beakers and different containers. Liter is larger amount. So what definition says that number of moles of solute per liter. So we have to convert milliliter into liter. So we will multiply this formula with 1000 because you know a liter consists of 100 milliliters. Okay. Now you also know that number of moles of solute will be equal to given mass of solute upon molecular mass of solute. If in numerical you are not given number of moles, you are given only mass, then you can find number of moles by taking given mass of solute divided by molecular mass of solute. Molecular mass you can compute from formula into 1000 divided by volume of solution in milliliters. Okay, and if volume is already in liters, then you don't have to multiply with, you have no need to multiply with 1000. Okay, that is common sense, just simple. So by using this formula, you can find molarity of any solution. Very simple. In your 11th class also you have done some numericals based upon this formula. Now let us take the last method of expressing concentration, which is molality. How molality is calculated? First of all, molality is represented by small m. Molarity by capital M, molality by small m. And how it is defined? Molarity was defined as number of moles of solute per liter of solution, and molality is defined as number of moles of solute per kilogram of solvent. You know, kilogram is unit of mass and solvent is solution minus solute, only solvent. These things to be kept in mind. Okay, so molality is number of moles of solute per kilogram of solvent. And molality is represented by small m. So small m is equal to number of moles of solute divided by mass of solvent. And again, in our calculations, mass is mostly in grams and kilogram has 1000 grams. So we have to multiply by 1000 to satisfy the definition which says number of moles per kilogram. Okay. And again, if number of moles are not given in numericals, mass is given, then you know that given mass of solute divided by molecular mass of solute, that becomes number of moles into 1000 upon mass of solvent in gram. Okay, so this is the formula to get molality of a solution. I think you are clear that what is the difference between molarity and molality. Okay, so these are the 7 most important formulas which are used to express concentration of a solution. First 3 are very simple. Mass, the component whose concentration we want to calculate, mass or volume of that component divided by total mass of solution into 100, 10 to power 2. Similarly in volume percentage, similarly in mass and volume, which is also called strength. And why these different methods are used? Because solutions have different states of their components. When all the components are solids, then mass percentage, liquid, then volume percentage. If one component is solid, other is liquid, then strength, that is mass volume percentage. And when solution is big, then we replace cent by million, that becomes ppm. Then comes mole fraction, fractions of moles. Yeah, mass fraction is also there. If here in mole fraction we replace mole by mass, that will become mass fraction. Very simple. The component whose mass fraction is required, mass of that component upon sum of masses of all the components, that simply becomes mass fraction. Okay, and then comes molarity and molality. Molarity is number of moles of solute per liter of solution. Molality is number of moles per kilogram of solute. Clear? Now, grasp these methods and you will better understand if you solve these practice problems. These 5 problems are there. Solve these right now so that your understanding gets better. For example, in first numerical, you are given calculate the mass percentage of benzene C6H6 and carbon tetrachloride CCl4 if 22 gram of benzene is dissolved in 122 gram of carbon tetrachloride. How shall we solve it? Very simple. There are 2 components, benzene and carbon tetrachloride, and we want to get mass percentage of both the components. So mass percentage of benzene will be, let us calculate, W oblique W, symbol for mass percentage. W oblique W percent for benzene will be mass of benzene, that is 22 gram, you see, upon sum of masses of both the components. Mass of benzene 22 gram plus mass of CCl4 122 gram into 100, that is 22 upon 144 into 100. I think you can solve it, you can calculate it. This will be mass conjugate benzene. And in a similar way, what will be the mass percentage of second component carbon tetrachloride? Mass of second component upon sum of masses of both the components, that is 144 gram, gives, sorry, into 100, that gives the mass per gram cancel. Answer will have no units. Can you solve it? No problem. Let us see second numerical. Calculate the mole fraction of benzene in solution containing 30% by mass in carbon tetrachloride. Okay, you are given mass percentage and you have to calculate mole fraction. So what is given? 30% by mass. Benzene is 30% by mass in carbon tetrachloride. What does it mean? It means that 30% by mass of benzene in carbon tetrachloride. Percent means 100. That means mass of benzene in solution is 30 gram. And what will be the mass of second component carbon tetrachloride? That will be 100 minus 30, which is equal to 70, because cent means 100. Okay, and we have to calculate mole fraction of benzene. Mole fraction means X. X is the symbol for mole fraction. So X for benzene we have to calculate. Are you learning? Are you getting it? I think some students must have even solved it. So how to get mole fraction of benzene? The formula will become number of moles of benzene. See here, X of benzene will be equal to number of moles of benzene upon the sum of number of moles of benzene and number of moles of carbon tetrachloride. Okay, and number of moles of benzene will be equal to given mass of benzene divided by molar mass of benzene upon the sum of given mass of benzene upon molar mass of benzene plus given mass of carbon tetrachloride upon molar mass of carbon tetrachloride. Can you calculate it? I want you to calculate it because it is very simple. If you do it yourself, you will learn better. Okay, solve. After solving this, let us solve third numerical. I give you hints of all these five so that you solve these, and if still problem remains, you can ask anytime. See this numerical. Calculate the molarity of each of the following solutions. First case is 30 gram cobalt nitrate, 4.3 liter of solution. Second is 30 milliliter of 0.5 molar sulfuric acid diluted to 500 milliliter. In these numericals, you have to get first case molarity. In second is also molarity, but situations are different. In first case, 30 gram of solute is in 4.3 liter. Okay. Here you will require molecular mass also, and in this case mass of cobalt is 59. Note it down. And nitrogen mass, 14 O16. In this case, sulfuric acid, its molecular mass, and you can solve it, I think. Only mass of cobalt is required, that I write here. Molecular mass, atomic mass of cobalt is 15. Solve it and get the answer. In case of problem, we will take Zoom meeting and do more numericals also, because these are very simple. These you can solve yourself. Now, numerical 2.4. Calculate the mass of urea NH2CO NH2 required in making 2.5 kg of 0.25 molar solution. See, mass of urea required we have to calculate. Given mass we have to calculate. Total mass of solution is 2.5 kg and molality of solution is given, which is 0.25. Okay, and the formula of molality you can apply and get the answer. In last numerical, calculate the molarity, and mole fraction, all the three things of potassium iodide Ki. If the density of 20% mass by mass aqueous solution is 1.202, very simple numerical, and one more formula is required to solve it, because you are given uh, 20 mass percentage here. Okay, so 20 mass percentage means that mass of Ki is 20 gram. Okay, and mass of solution is 100 gram. But for molarity, you need volume. Volume is not given. For that purpose only, density has been given. Density is 1.202 gram per milliliter. And you know that density of something is equal to mass over volume. By using this, density is equal to mass over volume. By using this, you can get the volume of solution. Mass of solution is 100 gram. Density is given. You can very easily get volume of solution, and by using volume of solution, you can get molality. Molarity. For molarity, you need mass. For molarity, you need volume. Now you can solve this numerical. So solve all these 5 numericals now and see your performance. I will give you some more problems also, difficult than these. Those we will solve in our Zoom meeting. And in lecture number 2, we will take next topic of solutions, which is about solubility. Solubility of solutions. So for today, this is over. Thank you. Goodbye.